Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric Aroka. This channel is your source for learning how to build great cultures and improving your own self-leadership. This week, we're going to be talking a little bit about the art of storytelling. I think the old adage says something like, the person that tells the best story usually wins. And that has been true throughout my sales career. When I started in sales, I quickly learned that features and benefits, or selling on features and benefits, wasn't going to cut it. And there's lots of different sales models and things that you can follow. But the thing that made the biggest impact in my sales career was focusing on telling great stories. Now, I realize that kind of like being a comedian, not everyone is funny. And if you've never been told that you're funny, then that usually means that you're not funny. So same thing goes with storytelling. If no one's ever told you that you're a great storyteller, then you may not be a great storyteller. But do not lose faith. You can still become a very effective storyteller. It's just going to take a little bit of practice. And so this week, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about how to become a great storyteller. Stories are impactful in our lives. Think about it from the perspective if you're trying to change the company culture for your organization. The stories that your employees hear or the stories that your employers tell are going to have a great impact on the organization as a whole. Not only to the organization, but people on the outside of the organization. Take it from the standpoint of new employees. New employees are usually come into a work environment, they're excited, they're rejuvenated, they want to conquer the world. They're ready to roll. But if they start hearing stories that discourage them, then they quickly become discouraged and start looking for other opportunities because the stories are discouraging them from wanting to work there. The message is not uplifting. On the other hand, if these new employees are hearing stories that inspire them about their workplace or about the people that they work for or with, then it's going to have the exact opposite effect. They are going to be more inspired. They are going to start telling those inspirational stories to other people. So it catches on whether it's in a positive note or in a negative note. So you want to be careful about what stories you're telling. Do your stories support the values and support the culture that you're trying to establish in your organization? Now, we all have stories. I know some of you watching this right now are thinking, well, my life is pretty boring. I haven't done anything. I don't have a great story. I would argue with that. I would tell you that you have a great story. It's just finding what that great story is for you in your life. The sooner you start finding those stories, the sooner you can start sharing those stories and start making a greater impact in people's lives. Like I said before, we are greatly impacted by the stories that we hear on a daily basis. Think about it. You buy things at the grocery store, cars, your home, the clothes that you wear, the products, services that you use, all because of great stories. Now, those stories may come in the way of a marketing campaign or some sort of an ad, but they are stories nonetheless. The famous author Ty Bennett wrote a great book entitled The Power of Storytelling. If you have not read this book, I would highly recommend that you pick it up. I will put the information down in the description so you guys can go and pick it up. It is a life-changing book. Ty really talks a lot about the power of storytelling and how influential that can be in our lives and in other people's lives. And he has this great model that he talks about. And Ty talks about the model of struggle to solution, not just the hero story. The hero story, there is never a struggle. It's just, hey, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, or this company is the best, they're the greatest, and there was never a struggle throughout that story. If you want to make it an impactful story, Ty talks about how you first need to focus on the struggle and then work that into the solution. So struggle to solution. I've been able to kill it over the years using that format. And it's still working for me today. I work for myself as a speaker, as a corporate coach, and I use the same format today. I call mine a little bit different, right? So mine is really focusing on strife and struggle comes before success. So I really want to talk about the strife and the struggle before I even start talking about the success that I've had. We'll often talk about how difficult it was getting started in this new career and the things that I've had to overcome before I talk about my success. And that's been a really good model for me to follow. If there is no pain, then what solution are you really offering them? Doesn't matter how great your product or service is, there's got to be a struggle to get to the solution. Next thing that I want to talk about is adding emotion to your stories. You've all heard that person just monotone, put you to sleep. Oh my gosh, they could kill you. Well, you want to practice putting emotion in, because emotion attracts us to that story. It attracts us to the person telling the story. And that's really why you're telling stories. We're trying to have greater rapport, build a better connection. It's a fast way to building a connection with whoever your audience is. So make sure you add that emotional aspect to your stories. If you're talking about yourself, something that you've done, talk about how it made you feel, what it did to you. Talk about that struggle. Make them feel your pain before you tell them your success and all the great things that you're going to tell them. Or about your product or your company or whatever that success story is. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the number one story killer. And that is to introduce the story. If you have to introduce the story, you are killing your story. Doesn't matter how great your story is. Doesn't matter how much emotion you bring into your story. You just killed it. Don't introduce your story. Stop telling people that you're about to tell them a story. It's a story killer. Just tell them the story. Most of us are capable enough to figure out when you're telling a story. So just start off by telling the story instead of introducing to people or telling them, hey, I am about to tell you a story. Don't do that. Just tell the story. There are 3 things that I would focus on in telling stories. And if you follow these 3 basic principles, it's really going to help you to tell a great story. The number 1 thing that you need to do is to be clear. Your story has to be clear. If you tell a story to a 6-year-old and they look at you like, huh? I didn't get it? What? Then your story is not clear. Make sure your story is very clear. Make sure that you're talking in the correct tense, especially if English is your second language. Many people where English is the second language, they will get the tense incorrect. So they'll talk about present tense when they should be talking about past tense. So make sure that you get that correct. But really just make sure that your message, that your story is very, very clear. Number 2, the thing that you need to do is make sure that your story is complete. Don't leave out any vital information. It doesn't matter. Providing key information or providing all of the information is going to allow your audience to appreciate you and your story. So make sure that your story is complete. And the number 3 is to be concise. Make your point, move on. If you're going to tell a joke and you're telling a joke about how the chicken crossed the road, you're not going to talk about what the chicken was doing the previous 2 weeks. Same thing with your story. Get to the point. What happened when the chicken crossed the road? Fill in the blank. I can't even remember any of those jokes. I probably should have thought of one, but they're kind of cheesy. So remember, be clear, be complete, be concise. If you do these things, if you incorporate these tips into your storytelling, you will become a more effective storyteller. If you're already a good storyteller, you're going to become a great storyteller. And the number 1 thing that you think I get from storytelling is the connection with other people. You build a stronger bond with other people. You're able to get to know them. They're able to get to know you much faster in a very friendly, very non-threatening way, or intrusive way, I should say. And it's just a powerful way to communicate. So remember, the person with the best story usually wins. Okay, guys, that's all we have time for today. So if you like this this video, make sure you give me one of these. Give me a thumbs up. Hit like, hit all the different buttons on there, right? Subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends and family about it. And we'll see you guys next week. Take care.